I feel that to improve relations between Ukraine and America, for Ukraine to go forth and improve relations with any other nation as well, Ukraine has to explain who it is. And as I touched on briefly before, familiarity with the nation. Who are the Ukrainian people? Show the life of an average Ukrainian person, what they go through, gives people something to relate to. You know, Ukrainian people have children, they have families, they work, they go to the gym, they go to sporting events. They are just like other people in the world because they are people in the world as well. So explain that, build some relationship, something relatable to people. The next thing is, Ukraine, I feel, has done a poor job clarifying what it really wants from the world. Many people will take a very broad stroke and say that Ukraine just says, give me money and I do something. That's not exactly the case, though it might look at that from a very macro point of view. It might look something like that, but in reality, what I feel would help Ukraine best is to articulate clearly and effectively what it actually wants and what it is able to do and the steps it will take to chart its new destiny. We've had more reforms in the past 5 years than in the entire history up to that, up to the Euromaidan. And a lot was sacrificed for that. So the lawmakers should not forget, the many lawmakers that came to power after the Euromaidan, not forget why they're in office and do that. But you have to clarify to people, when you want something, don't say, can you help us please, we have a crisis in Ukraine. Again, when people aren't familiar with the individual day-to-day problems of what Ukraine has, that familiarity, it's hard to really clarify how they can help. Like, what do you ask from me? So Ukraine really needs to articulate clearly, what do we want? Where do we need to go? How do we get there? The step-by-steps. And objectives that need to be completed, milestones that need to be completed to do that. It also gives your people a sense of hope that when people say "se bude dobre," that they actually can believe that instead of "ale nikto ne zna jak kole." So, and that brings me to my next point: accountability. We need to be accountable. Ukraine needs to be accountable. If we give you $5 million in medical surgical equipment, a vehicle with a mobile hospital for the front lines, don't put it on the base in Zhytomyr and use it for training. And then when you move it out to the war zone, strip it of all of its usable equipment, so it's basically a vehicle that has no medical purposes anymore. And when you give 10,000 individual first aid kits to the Ukrainian military, don't just put them in a warehouse under Kyiv and ironically see that certain military stores are selling near identical equipment to the general masses for much, much less than the market value. You can't tell me that's simply somebody buying American stuff and reselling it. So if I give you something, if I give you my time, if I give you resources to do an objective that Ukraine clarifies as what they would like to do, don't take it for granted, because America will help, other nations will help happily to help Ukraine keep its and maintain its sovereignty and to help the soldiers have a better standing of training. But if Ukraine betrays that trust, then don't think it's going to be as strong as it's been before. We do a lot of training in this country. The Americans do, the Canadians do, the British do. Many other nations come here and help Ukrainians right now. And it's a matter of global stability, of security of Europe, to keep Ukraine strong. But don't we owe it to our partners, our foreign partners, to make sure that we're honest in what we do? And so simply clarify exactly what you want. And I would say to the Americans, to the Canadians, to the British, the Australians and the other nations, pre-Baltics and the European nations, is clarify what you expect from Ukraine. Hold them responsible, because when you make Ukraine responsible for its actions or inactions, then you're really progressing something. And you can show people when we complete those milestones, when the governments become responsible in doing things, people will start to believe in reform because people want to see something different. They want to know that the people who sacrificed their lives in the war and at Maidan, that it was for something.